Firstly, I'll acknowledge the hard work put in by two organizations, the NBCC, which is there, and FICCI. NBCC actually put up this building under the most trying circumstances. It's not very easy to go to Dubai, take labor. We had the second wave going on in India. There was issues of visas, construction material, shipping problems, getting this stuff. I think NBCC fought against all these challenges, came up trumps, and the building is ready. And in fact, the building has been probably, Sharma, you've already got the
completion,
the building completion certificate. So fundamentally, the building is done. And mind you, these people are quite finicky. None of these things come. They've already got a fire clearance certificate 4 days ago. They've got the building completion. It's absolutely, top class, ready to go into operation. The other organization which is actually lead managing it is FICCI. He is managing the participation, the events, the states, the sectors, the corporates, getting them all on board. It's not an easy exercise. And you have to understand the magnitude of the exercise. This is going to be there for 28 weeks, 6 months. Annual India International Trade Fair is 2 weeks. And everybody knows what happens in those 2 weeks. And you've got all permanent structures there, pretty much permanent structures. It's not been there for 2 years because of this construction work, but everybody knows what the rhythm of a trade fair is. And also, 2 weeks is a much shorter time. Thirdly, it's a bit of a mela for 2 weeks. Good weather, Delhi, November, December. So that's the way it is structured. And also it has evolved over years. It has learned from year to year and grown. This is the first of its kind, which is going to run for 6 months in COVID times in a location. And Dubai itself has upscaled the participation to 192 countries. How many were there in Beijing last time? 60 odd?
Close to 140.
140 were the number of countries. So you can see it's almost a 50% jump over last time. So it's a high level of participation. The building itself, I must say, a lot of effort has gone into it. It's world class. Those 200 blocks which you saw, all of them move independently. So you can imagine the amount of technology that has gone into it. Probably that's one of the most challenging parts. The building is very innovative. It showcases heritage, past, present, and future. It's going to showcase the 75th year of independence, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. It's going to showcase what's so great about a country in the past, great journey we are on, and what are the dreams and ambitions, every for himself or herself. So I think that's why it's very futuristic. Most of the stuff you're seeing, don't think that this is some kind of I know there are a lot of graphic stuff which happens nowadays, so it is developed by software. This is actually real. It actually exists on the ground. Some of my colleagues have visited it about 10 days ago. It's actually there. So when you see people walking on an escalator or a tunnel and you're seeing all that on both sides, it's real, it exists. So it is going to be an experience worth remembering. It's going to be memorable. And among all the pavilions which are there, we are among the few who are actually building a permanent pavilion. Most others are going to be temporary. So we actually are going to see the Indian footprint in Dubai forever after this event is over. How it will be used, etc. There are thoughts, there are plans. What are you going to do with all the exhibits, etc. Again, thoughts are there, but I'm sure they'll be put to good use. A lot of effort has gone into designing what is inside. So what you're seeing is actually months and months of effort which has been going on. It's absolutely stunning. I have seen some of the trial. I mean, what you've seen is a video of the building and how it looks inside. You have actually not seen the software that is going into it. And I've seen some of them. It actually transports you into some other world. And I think that's going to be the thing. I mean, anybody who enters this pavilion will be lost for 3 to 6 hours. Each part of it is very, very interesting, charming, and it's there. The other is the high level of interest, enthusiasm, and participation. We've got almost all the states and union territories of India participating. They've all been given 1 to 2 weeks, depending on their choice. I think in the first fortnight, we have Gujarat there, we have Telangana somewhere, we have Uttarakhand somewhere, we have Ladakh there. I mean, everybody from north to south, east to west, most people are participating. And there's a separate portion in the pavilion left to the state for that week or fortnight. So there they are showcasing their own state. All the software in their part will actually be developed by them. FICCI is helping them out. A gentleman there, you can raise your hand. He's coordinating with. He's the hero of the show in terms of getting all this organized off the record, but put in a lot of effort. I'll acknowledge that. It's a very dirty job. I mean, doing something like this, which has to last 6 months and manage to keep people's interest for 6 months. It's frightening, you know. I mean, this is not a 3-hour movie or something, you know. It's something which is very long. It's gone in. We've got all states on board. States are planning their own things. States are planning not just cultural events, planning exhibit their own stuff. I'll just give a sample. One particular state will have a green technology day on one day. There'll be a renewable energy on another day, or industrial investment promotion on another day, or agri and agri exports on another day. So they're all having their own themes, their own. Suppose you're there for 7 days or 14 days, you've got daily programs that have turned up. A lot of VIPs are going to go there. I can't name names now, but I think all this will come into public very soon. But we know that there are chief ministers who will be visiting. It's a top class thing as far as they're concerned to showcase their states. I have heard that large number of MOUs are going to be signed there because you're not the only country. You know, you've got 190 countries going on there. So I think that there's a lot of, it's very easy. It's not somebody traveling all the way to India or somebody traveling from India elsewhere. Everybody is available within that campus, that mini city which has come up. Similarly, we have a large number of departments participating. You know, it's almost, 30 odd departments have been roped in. They will be having 1 to 2 weeks each. Now, it's not that they have been randomly chosen. As it's shown in the presentation, the World Expo authorities have actually decided themes for the entire expo week by week. So if they're doing something on environment, our environment people are there. If they're doing something on urban, our urban people are there. If they're doing something on startups, our startup people are there. So as you see, our departments actually merge with the theme of the expo. It helps in 2 ways. Suppose you have our space people, and space is there across all the other pavilions. When you're rolling a workshop, conference or something on space, you get participants from each other's pavilions, the experts who are there. So I actually was worried, how are you going to fill these, workshop seminar? You suddenly realize, no, there are 190 countries with the same theme on that day. Solar on 1 week. Everybody's got solar guys going all around at that time. So I think it's very well conceived. And I think it's a very high level of participation. The third group of people are the corporates. In a way, I mean, Dubai is good for business. India is open for business. It's a nice confluence. The World Expo actually will provide a good platform for businesses to do 2 things. Showcase their own stuff for the rest of the world and also use that opportunity. And the level of participation interest is very high. And you have very high top class companies with large turnovers to startups. So the whole spectrum is there. And we hope to do that. In our startups have been given a special place. So I think we'll be running startups in every sector week after week. This is as far as what's happening inside the building is concerned. Outside the building, there are going to be cultural shows and there are events. Now, I can't recite. I'm not good at all that stuff. But there is a lot of big names. You've got artists who will be performing. You're having fashion shows showcasing Indian fabric, Indian fashion across the world. And then you have thematic, presentations. You'll have artists going from different region of India performing there. You will have movie stars, of course, going in once in a while. And you will also have school children and their groups performing there. So I think it's a huge diversity which will be there. We've also made an effort that children from the 115 aspiration districts, they are taken there, they also participate. So I think the effort has been to make the participation as inclusive as possible from our side. There are a lot of teething troubles, but compared to last year, we have moved on. The expo is ready to be launched. I think the date is clearly mentioned there, 1st of October. For us, 2nd of October is a very big day. It's Gandhi Jayanti. We will be having shows inside our pavilion, outside, because there's an outdoor amphitheater, smaller one, and there are some central facilities for the whole expo. So in the central facilities, you will have much larger crowds. What's the largest crowd that can come?
5,000.
5,000. So got big places. So we have booked that also. So the Khadi show is going to be one of the amphitheaters. Yeah, so the Khadi fashion show will be in this 5,000 amphitheater. There'll be some which will be in smaller ones. Workshops and seminars, there are smaller rooms. So I think this is there. The ground floor of what the Indian Pavilion is actually incredible India. 20 reasons to visit India. They're going to be live models of many of our heritage buildings there. Some of the buildings which are coming up. Ayodhya, the Ram Mandir is going to be there. The Varanasi reconstruction is going to be there. So there are a lot of Swaminarayan people who are already present in Dubai. They are coming up with their own model. So it's a fair, and I think that's the way it's been structured. The question is, how about participants and people traveling to see this? Dubai has always been the most open country, but thanks to COVID, everybody is locked down. So Dubai has also had a lockdown. But if you're reading the papers, you can see that they're relaxing travel things very fast. Travel visas were not there 15 days ago. But I think 3-4 days ago, I saw a news item. They've allowed travel visas. They've reduced quarantine conditions. I think they're not even asking for people to be vaccinated. We thought that would be a condition. But if you are vaccinated, then you have a free pass. Am I right? Otherwise, you have to carry an RT-PCR negative test, twice. So they're also aware that they need to make life easier for participants. So this is the broad thing. The Government of India, I won't say Commerce Ministry because we may be lead managing it, but there are 30 odd departments there. The states are there. All the corporates are there. FICCI is lead managing, NBCC is there. Put in a lot of effort. We are hopeful that this will be a success. It will fetch a lot of benefits for the nation as a whole. And in the long run, this pavilion is going to be a permanent asset for India in a major trading nation. And that's all I have to say. I'm willing to take questions. Sure, would you want to add anything? I mean, that's that. And I want to add one small point. Since we are here and all of you are on the commerce beat, many of you, I've seen some of you before, our exports are rocking. And that's what I'll say. And we are going to release the trade data. And he reminded me, EJ was telling me, keep the two separate. We don't want the news fall of that to actually. We are doing 164 billion in the first 5 months of the year. April, May, it's actually 163.67. How much is it, Santosh?
Sir.
Am I right?
Right.
It's 163.67. I'm rounding it 164 billion, which is 5 months. If I see the run rate, we'll be getting already at the range of 394 billion. But that's the small push. We will do it later. So I'm very confident that we'll cross the 400 billion as targeted. This will be not just the highest ever export performance. It will be a solid 30% jump over the highest ever recorded 330 billion 3 years ago. We're not even using last year as a base. I think I compliment everybody who's involved. The Prime Minister has laid out his vision for that. He's given a kickstart to the whole thing. I mean, the export sector is doing very good. It's firing on all engines. We are working hard to remove all kinds of pinpricks here and there. Hopefully, we'll do well on that. But I only request is let the two news items be kept separate. Let this not be flooded by the good news on the trade. You can file 2 reports each, one on the World Expo and one on the trade thing. It's good news on both sides, and we're very hopeful. Thank you.
August number, sir.
This is 31st August number.
Yes. So August month of August.
34, 33. August कितना है?
Sir, August is 33.14.
33.14 is what August is.
100%?
3.14.
There's a press release. It's coming.
This will be today.
Just hold on. It's in his hand.
Sent to Narayan, sir.
Another half an hour first to file these. Send me the links. You get it.
Percentage.
You get it, everything. Let's not cannibalize the two newses. Just to do, they're not flashing this.
You'll get that. But it's there, and you'll be the first to have it. Maybe by the time you're walking out, you can either nab him or nab Mishra. He may also like to have his share of.
Just file this. This very important expo is very important. File this.
Yeah.
And one last time, I'll send you.
Sir,
जैसे कि बोल रहा है just one second. I would request all of you to kindly introduce or at least those of हाथ उठाए next question आएगा ये लगेगा for August. Next question किसका होगा?
33.
Yeah, please.
सर जैसा कि आपने बताया कि इसमें जो है चीफ मिनिस्टर्स और स्टेट पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे, मतलब प्राइम मिनिस्टर जा रहे हैं अपने यहाँ से, या कॉर्पोरेट्स, कितने कॉर्पोरेट्स ऐसे हैं जो लोग इसमें जा रहे हैं?
मैं 2 क्वेश्चन लेके दोनों का इकट्ठा जवाब दे दूंगा,
ठीक है।
2 करके।
सर समीर फ्रॉम ईटीना। सर ट्रैवलिंग को लेकर के अभी भी बहुत प्रॉब्लम है, स्पेशली एट अ टाइम व्हेन WHO has issued sort of a warning regarding the new mutant, and India is also imposing certain restriction from traveling perspective. At the last end of your speech, you have mentioned that easiness will be there, but yes, there are still many problems, either at the US side or from the Indian side. So how this will be addressed?
I'll answer number 1 your question and then I'll come back. I think the UAE authorities are the ones who will be most worried. That's where the crowds are going to come. They're taking all precautions. That's why they still have these tests. They've allowed all people with WHO approved vaccines to travel, which means as of now Covishield, but we are hoping that in the next 15 days or so, Covaxin will also get authorized by WHO. So Covaxin will also be an authorized vaccine. Coming to the pandemic and the mutations and the new versions, rest assured, that's the nature of that animal. It will mutate. And, by the way, that latest mutation you're talking of is not one. There are about 30 mutations in one. So this will keep happening. This will be a constant battle. I think our health ministry, the world, they're all locked down to it. They'll try to resolve that. That's why we're all taking, I just took off this mask because I was talking to you, but I'll go back into my mask. I'll go home. So we take our precautions. I think the world will take its precautions. But the feeling I got when I talked to the Dubai authorities, and the FICCI colleagues and my own colleagues will bear it out, they're taking immense precautions to see that there is no massive spread. And I think they've been very successful in controlling it. If you notice, they have relaxed restrictions from other countries first. The Indian relaxations have started happening now because they are confident that they'll be there. Now, I am not sure how they're going to differentiate, because if you look at the disease, it's not uniformly spread even in the country. They're going to be pockets. And I think there are strategies which the government has that they'll, lock it down in one location. You're seeing Kerala having some pattern of night curfew. Somebody else is doing something differently. Somebody is relaxing. So I think we're getting to live with it. But I don't think that's the biggest concern. आपकी बात आते ही बहुत लोग आ रहे हैं. जहां तक प्रधानमंत्री की बात है, प्रधानमंत्री जी कब जाएंगे नहीं जाएंगे ये हमारे हाथ में नहीं है, बट है तो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण चीज. और यूएई के साथ हमारे संबंध बहुत ही अच्छे हैं. तो वो उस परिप्रेक्ष्य में क्या निर्णय लिया जाएगा हम कह नहीं सकते, लेकिन सबकी आशाएं हैं, यूएई वालों की भी आशाएं हैं. बस मैं यही छोड़ूंगा. कॉर्पोरेट्स कितने पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं इसके बारे में डिटेल्स मैं दिलीप को बोलूंगा. The number of corporates who are participating and the interest levels they have shown.
जो कॉर्पोरेट्स की जो हमने आपको शेयर किया था कि जो ऊपर 8 स्क्रीन्स हैं वो साले 6 महीने के लिए कॉर्पोरेट्स आ रहे हैं. दूसरा, जैसे कि अगर आप MNRE का देखें तो पहले MNRE के जितने भी सोलर यहाँ पे कंपनीज हैं वो सारे वहां जा रहे हैं, क्योंकि काफी जो इंडिया में सोलर कंपनीज वो आदिया या मुबादला या किसी फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन वहां पे फाइनेंस हुए हैं. स्टार्टअप्स भी जा रहे हैं उनके तरह. और जो स्टेट्स है, जैसे सेक्रेटरी साहब ने बताया था कि स्टेट्स अपने अपने प्रोग्राम्स बना रहे हैं, तो उन प्रोग्राम्स में इंडस्ट्री डेलीगेशंस है. सेक्टर्स के साथ डेलीगेशन होगा, ये स्टेट्स के साथ इंडस्ट्री डेलीगेशन होगा, और कोई थीम्स पे है वो ओवरऑल थीम्स भी डेलीगेशन जा रहे हैं. विमेन्स के भी अलग अलग डेलीगेशन जा रहे हैं. तो ये
Hi, sir. Good afternoon. Shubhayan from Money Control. As we saw, it was a very lovely looking pavilion. But since we are so invested in it, I mean, in terms of finances as well as our passion, is there any kind of a quantifiable target from the government side as to what we want to achieve after this 5 months is over? As in the amount of business we want to generate from this, or the number of international tourists we want to see come in?
Let me put it this way. These are all intangibles.
True.
Number 1. 2, there is no central control agency which is controlling the whole thing. So if you have, say, 25 or 30 states and UTs participating, each is actually being given space, and they're actually doing it. I know for something, Karnataka has very big plans there. Maharashtra has very big plans there. Gujarat has very big plans. UP has big plans. So what we have set up is, we have got FICCI has set up a tracking system. So at the end of it, probably on a fortnightly basis or a monthly basis, they will start giving releases on what's coming up. This has been kept under the wraps because we were all getting ready There were concerns about COVID, whether this will happen, not happen. We are now going public because now we are sure that we are at the last mile. So now you will see this thing ratcheting up. I'm sure FICCI has a separate media group which is only going to connect regularly with you. I mean, it's not me, but FICCI will actually be releasing a lot of data. But rest assured, I'm confident that both in terms of what's going to come into India in terms of investment and raising India's profile globally, this is going to be phenomenal. This is going to be phenomenal. I mean, this is an aspirational India which the world will come to see, right?
Sir, Aishwarya Paliwal from India Today. My question actually very similar to what he asked. Sir, we are seeing various states going there from the central government's point of view. Would we have a delegation which will be present maybe for 2 months, 3 months, or 6 months, and just looking at how new business opportunities can be explored from the central government's point of view?
Okay, I'll put it this way. A couple of things. First of all, the pavilion has a pavilion director, and the pavilion director's order should go out today. The pavilion director will be a permanent entity for 6 months. 2, NBCC will have permanent staff there because they're looking after the facility. FICCI will have permanent staff there because they're managing the entire event. So they will be there as the core group, because this is almost like you're running a restaurant. People are coming, going. Every 2 weeks, you'll see a new group of people there. And they'll also have a learning curve of 1 day, trying to figure out, where is the open door and where is the exit. Each state or each department or corporate will have people permanently positioned there. And my colleague just reminded me that all staff in the pavilions are getting vaccinated by the expo authorities themselves. So the vaccination for everybody inside. So the most likely people who will either get infected or spread are actually the people who are going to be in the pavilion. They're going to see these 25 million people. So they'll all be taken care of. So that is the support is being given by the expo authorities if they are not vaccinated. So that is one. I mean, we're not of India. No? There are many other countries, Africa will be participating, who may not be vaccinated to the same extent. We're probably far, far better than most other countries. The second part of it is every government department, suppose there's a department, urban development is going to be there for a week, or then space is going to be there for a week. They'll have their staff permanently there. It's not just the staff. They're all going to organize events. I mean, I don't know whether somebody here is carrying that that sheet of events. On any particular day, there'll be 15 to 20 events happening simultaneously on that day. Because there is going to be, take the India Pavilion. You have a state setup. The state setup will be having its exhibition. It will be conducting something on that day. There is a conference rooms, 3 or 4, where they can be signing MOUs or having some event. And there's a small auditorium, 150 capacity.
Yes.
150 or 200 capacity, where they may be doing a small workshop or whatever. This is what is inside. Then something else is happening outside. States are doing the same thing. Departments are doing the same thing. So this will be buzzing with activity. Plus, there are visitors who are going around to whatever you saw. So what you saw was from the perspective of the general visitor. You have not seen it from the perspective of the department or the corporate who are actually going to get a payoff out of this. Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm Meghna Mittal from Enterprise. My question is actually not on the expo. I wanted to check with you on the status of the foreign trade policy that should be placed from October. Also, should we expect some kind of export stops the industry has been seeking?
I can't preempt the FTP, no?
So what will be the focus of the time?
The FTP will say that. I am not supposed to say it. It will happen when it is announced. Okay, be patient. We'll come through.
So is it coming out?
A press conference when the FTP will be there. It's the minister's show. I'm not going to preempt that.
We announced this month.
I mean, the date is known. The policy ends on 30th September.
So you decided the dates?
This Ram Mandir will be showcased by Uttar Pradesh state government during this expo for that particular week, or it will be a very highlighting point for the entire
exhibit.
No, I think they're two different things. For the first time in the history of UAE, they've actually allowed that construction of a temple there, which is the BAPS temple. That is going to be actually showcased there. If you saw in the film, you saw the models there. There were some descriptive models. So some models are going to be there permanently. Some are going to rotate with the states. So that is the idea, because we want to get the states to also showcase their heritage and go forward. So that is the plan here. And just one thing, I think, some of you might be wondering why we are not being, giving you all the information now. In a trade show that lasts for 6 months, every day and every week you get novelty. So what's going to happen next week is either it's like if you know the auto expo, right? It's not happening next year, but that comes only one day before. So that is the strategy here, and that's why Secretary and all of us are just telling you something there. So please bear with us. There are more than if there are 183 days, I can guarantee you that there are more than 3 times that stories for the expo, and you will get the opportunity to be there. What we are also offering you, since this is that some of you do shows in Dubai, right? I know channels do shows. We are offering you the India Pavilion to do your show and telecast it from at no cost. So you'll save your hotel cost, you'll save everything. There are different ways of partnering us going forward. I'm sure Mr. DJ Narayan will also explain that to you later. But since you all are here, you'll have, since you're attending here, we're giving you the early bird catches the worm kind of a concept. So that's it.
मैं CNBC आवाज से आलोक प्रियदर्शी हूँ सर। मेरा एक सर पूछना था कि इस जो 1 महीने के बाद से शुरू होने जा रहा है ये शो एक्सपो, इसमें कितने हजार करोड़ के कारोबार होने की उम्मीद है? अगर इंडिया की तरफ से बात करें, कितने करोड़ के एमओयूज वगैरह साइन होने की आपको एक्सपेक्टेशन है?
नहीं, ये प्रश्न उन्हीं का था। ये लगभग यही था कि भाई कितने एमओयू साइन होंगे, उसकी क्या वैल्यू होगी, क्या राशि होगी। भी उसका संभावना बड़ा मुश्किल है कहना। अब 1 महीना इसको चलने दें, अपने आप आंकड़े बाहर आने लगेंगे और हमें विश्वास है कि बहुत ही संतोषजनक होगा, बहुत ही संतोष।
सर ने ये भी बताया था कि कुछ स्टेट्स के तो ऑलरेडी बिग प्लान्स नोन है।
हम इसको कंट्रोल नहीं कर रहे हैं।
बहुत सारी चीजें।
लद्दाख जाएगा, लद्दाख वहां एमओयू साइन करने नहीं जा रहा है, लद्दाख टूरिज्म प्रमोट करने जा रहा है। वो आएगा कम टू लद्दाख, वो 10 दिन बिताइए। लेकिन महाराष्ट्र जाएगा या गुजरात जाएगा या कर्नाटका जाएगा, वो एमओयूज, प्रमोशन, इन्वेस्टमेंट अपने दृष्टिकोण से जा रहे हैं। सो हर स्टेट का नजरिया अलग है, उनका फोकस अलग है। कोई टूरिज्म प्रमोट कर रहा है, कोई इंडस्ट्री प्रमोट कर रहा है, कोई सर्विसेज और सॉफ्टवेयर एक्सपोर्ट्स की बातें कर रहा है, कई चीजें हैं। सो ये, और जैसे फिकी ने बताया है, ये तो 183 डेज तो लंबे हो रहे हैं, मैं तो उसका हफ्तों में कहूंगा। यहाँ पर 26 हफ्ते हैं तो 26 क्लाइमैक्सेस हैं, 26 कहानियां हैं, और हर हफ्ते की शो अलग है। पिक्चर की वजह से आपके टीवी सीरियल होता है ना, whatever, सास बहू, whatever series are there nowadays, भाग या whatever, you don't tell the story at one go. हर सीरियल अलग है, हर हफ्ते का अगले पिछले हफ्ते बताएंगे। That is the
स्टेट्स ने जो प्लान अपने बनाए हैं वो आपके साथ शेयर किया है?
किसने?
स्टेट्स ने जो प्लान बनाए हैं वहां के लिए।
देखिए साहब, ऐसा है, स्टेट्स की प्लान्स जो है उनकी खुद की है। लेकिन हमारी एक कमिटी है जिसमें कल्चर वाले हैं, डीजे भी है, फिकी के भी हैं, जो उनकी क्वालिटी देखती है। भाई अब इतना अगर हार्डवेयर बढ़िया लेवल का है और वहाँ एक लो क्वालिटी घटिया लेवल की स्क्रीनिंग, कई बार क्या है, आपने इससे शूट कर दिया और उसको वहां दिखाया तो वो दिखेगा नहीं ठीक से ना, बस उसी को जांचने के लिए। बट लोग अपना अपना खुद बना रहे हैं। लेकिन फिक्की के जो हर स्टेट में इनका ब्रांच भी रहता है ना, उनका लोकल एसोसिएशन वगैरह, उनके साथ मिलकर तैयारी में मदद कर रहे हैं। ठीक है। One last question, or if you're tired, we'll again
Covaxin. Will they be allowed Covaxin?
Yes. Yeah, he'll answer.
I just wanted to inform that UAE has recognized both Covishield and Covaxin.
Okay.
They just announced it. It came out in the media about last week.
I thank you all very much.
एक सवाल, एक्सपोर्ट्स को लेकर बात हो रही है कि 400 बिलियन का जो टारगेट रखा गया है, सबसे मेन प्रॉब्लम वो कंटेनर वाली अभी भी आ रही है सर। उसको लेकर अभी तक कुछ ऐसा ब्रेक थ्रू हुआ है जिसको लेकर देखा जाए कि
मैं उसमें की बात कही आपने, अभी लंबा नहीं जवाब दूंगा। कंटेनर्स की दिक्कत पूरी दुनिया में हो रही है, लेकिन हमारे देश में भी हो रहा है। अब ये हम नहीं कह सकते कि दुनिया में है तो हम भी भुगतेंगे, ऐसा सो नहीं रहे हैं। कल हमारे कैबिनेट सेक्रेटरी साहब ने मीटिंग ली है, बहुत उच्च स्तर पर इस पर नजर रखा जा रहा है। कंटेनर्स के दाम जो है 300 से 500% बढ़े हैं, 100 to 500% इज रेंज। मेरे पास तो हर देश का रेट था। कल ही शाम को बैठक हुई और आज 3 बजे बैठक चल रही है शिपिंग के। यहाँ चीजें कर रहे हैं, हमें विश्वास है कि अगले 3-4 दिन में कुछ हमारे सॉल्यूशंस निकलेंगे। हमारे यहाँ ट्रांसपोर्ट मार्केटिंग असिस्टेंस स्कीम है, TMA, जो एग्रीकल्चर एक्सपोर्ट्स के लिए है। ये मार्च तक था और उसकी अप्रूवल आ गई है और अगले 3-4 दिन में हम उसका अनाउंस कर देंगे बाय द वीकेंड। सो दैट विल गिव अ बिग बूस्ट। एटलीस्ट एग्रीकल्चर उसमें सुलझ जाएगा। 2-3 और मुद्दों पे बातें चल रहे हैं और हमारे मंत्री जी, मैं डेट नहीं बता पाऊंगा, वो भी शायद बैठक लेने वाले हैं अगले हफ्ते इसी मुद्दे को लेके बड़े मंत्रियों के साथ, क्योंकि ये केवल एक का काम नहीं है। कंटेनर कॉर्पोरेशन तो रेलवेज भी है, शिपिंग भी है, वाणिज्य विभाग भी है। ये सब लोग मिलके कुछ हल निकालने का रास्ता ढूंढेंगे। दो प्रकार के हल हो सकते हैं, एक शॉर्ट टर्म हल हो सकता है और एक लॉन्ग टर्म हो सकता है। लॉन्ग टर्म हल से आज की दिक्कत तो दूर नहीं होगी, बट कल भी आ सकता है ये दिक्कत। तो लॉन्ग टर्म में भी कुछ सुझाव हैं जो देश में कंटेनर्स की प्रोडक्शन बढ़ाया जाए। दुनिया के सारे कंटेनर 2 ही देशों में बनते हैं। सो एक दिक्कत वो है, तो हम भी अपना बढ़ाए। वी आर अ बिग स्टील मैन्युफैक्चरिंग नेशन, स्टील एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं हम। कंटेनर्स क्यों यहाँ ना बनाए, एक ये चीज है। उसकी उपलब्धता बढ़े, उसके दूसरे देशों में जाने की व्यवस्था शिप्स के माध्यम से भी बढ़े। शिपिंग वाले सोच रहे हैं कि ये जो नॉर्मल बल्क कैरियर शिप्स हैं उसमें कंटेनर्स क्यों नहीं लिया जाए, वो उसके बारे में सोच रहे हैं। एक और चीज है कि कई सारे ऐसे सामग्री है जो पिछले एक दशक में जो पहले बल्क में जाते थे वो कंटेनराइज हो गए हैं, जबकि आवश्यकता नहीं है। कंटेनराइज होने का फायदा क्या होता है कि आप उसको सामग्री को पोर्ट टू पोर्ट ले जाने के बजाय एक बीच में ट्रांसशिपमेंट पॉइंट लेके फिर दूसरी शिप में कोलंबो ले जाएं या कहीं सिंगापुर ले जाएं, ये करें करके। तो ये हो रहा है। चीनी वैसे ही जाने लग गया है, सोया ऐसे ही जाने लग गया है, जबकि उसको अगर डीकंटेनराइज करे, आज की तारीख में बल्क कैरियर्स की शॉर्टेज नहीं है, केवल कंटेनर शिप्स की शॉर्टेज चल रही है। तो इसके ऊपर विचार है। हमें विश्वास है कि अगले 5-6 दिन में इसका हल निकलेगा। बट शिपिंग सेक्टर एक साइक्लिकल सेक्टर है। 4 साल दाम बढ़ते हैं, 3-4 साल दाम घटते हैं। बट अब साथ साथ ये कोविड भी जुड़ गया। सडनली चाइना में लॉकडाउन वगैरह चालू हो गए हैं और वहां लॉकडाउन तो जबरदस्त चल रहे हैं, खास करके पोर्ट्स में। तो सामग्री निकल नहीं रहा है कंटेनर से, वो भी एक बड़ी दिक्कत आ गई है। बट हमें विश्वास है कि कुछ हल निकालेंगे। लोग चिंतित हैं। मैं जैसे बोला ना, अभी बात कर रहा हूँ, बैठक चल रही है शिपिंग मिनिस्ट्री में, मेरे खुद के अधिकारी भी वहां पर भाग ले रहे हैं। धन्यवाद, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you, sir.
Find 2 separate reports. Don't mix up World Expo with that joy of tiffin there. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. We share that press data soon, sir. Sir, what will the value, sir?
देने के किराया रूप बढ़ा है
Finance.
I'm Aishwarya. I know this. I have met you when I was expected.